What's up, guys, and welcome back to PvP Adventures, the World of Tanks edition. As you can see, this here is my garage. I do not have a premium account, so therefore you get the non-premium garage. Usually I run mods, like to give me different garages and things like that, but anyway, yep, this here is the tank lineup. As you see, I have quite a few tanks. I've been playing World of Tanks for quite a while now. And like I've said before, I'm not the best player in the world. I'm not the worst player in the world. I'm your Joe average player. I have really good games. I have really good crappy games. Or should I say really crappy games. And then I got, mediocre games where I do decent enough. I survive. Usually I'm just happy to survive. Now with World of Warships, I said I will not be a wallet warrior. Meaning I will not buy premium ships and things like that, mainly because World of Warships is still in beta. However, I do have premium tanks in World of Tanks here, and oh, it's not gonna let me show you. Is it? No. Okay, so anyway, let's highlight some of the premium tanks here. This is the T7 combat car. I really don't like this tank too much because it's the only thing it can really penetrate with its gun is itself, or tanks like it. It is a fast little tank though. It is a lot of fun to drive around, but yeah, this tank was actually a gift from Wargaming. So hey, like I said with World of Warships, you get what you pay for. Next off is the T14. This is a heavy tank, tier 5. This was actually the first heavy tank I ever got. I think at the time I was like tier 1, tier 2, and I'm like, you know what? I want to try a heavy tank. So I bought this thing, and I'm pretty sure I did the same thing that everyone who ever gets a heavy tank does. Drives out in the middle of the field and says, I got a heavy tank. Armor, big gun, oh yeah! And next thing you know, you're a smoldering, flaming pile of molten metal. Yeah, that happened quite a few times. So anyway, then we go to the TOG 2. Now, normally I would not buy a tank like this. This thing is slower than molasses in January. It has next to no armor, but for its tier, it has a lot of hit points for the 1400 hit points. It has a really fast firing gun. It is actually really hard hitting. For the tanks that a lot of the tanks, lower tier tanks that it meets, once they do manage to do some damage to you, you've already put 5 or 6 shots into them, and they're a smoldering pile of wreckage. So, and the only reason I did buy this tank is because they were taking it out of the store. Basically, you cannot purchase this tank anymore. Same with the T14. That's the only reason I held on to it. You cannot buy those 2 tanks anymore, which really sucks, but, it is what it is. Now, you're probably looking and saying, well, Doc, you have no tier 10 tanks. No, I do not. My highest tanks are tier 7. With the Black Prince, the T29, the Comet, and the T25-2 tank destroyer. I'm still working on that. Tier 7 is a very long grind to get through. And also, like I said in World of Warships, if you guys want technical details, there are other YouTubers that do give those out on a daily basis. I unfortunately am not one of them. I'm lazy. I don't really take much time to go and look up all the specs and everything on these tanks. If you guys are interested though, I can post online here, or I can post in one of the videos. I can give you links or just throw them up on the channel here to other YouTubers who actually give you like the historical and technical specs of these tanks. Next up is the Panzer M10. This is a German tank, and I don't know why it has stars on it, but this is a German tank. And I don't, yeah. The star is American. I don't know why that's on there. But anyway, As a matter of fact, I think it gives you on premium tanks. Oh, okay, here we go. During the preparation of Otto Skorzeni's Panzer Brigade 150 for the Ardennes offensive, 4 Panther tanks were disguised. Oh, they're okay. Disguised as M10 tank destroyers. Okay, that's why. Okay, that's why it has the American thing on it. The premium tanks do give you a little historical rundown. But like a lot of the other vehicles you see in this game, a lot of these were only in prototype stage or blueprints only. Some of these tanks were never produced. Pretty soon here we're going to have the Japanese heavies coming into World of Tanks. And Japanese heavies, I hear you say. Yes, Japanese heavies. Basically, the Japanese had a bunch of designs for heavy tanks that were never produced. For obvious reasons, lack of resources, whatnot. Because it's, you're on an island, and when you have limited resources and you're fighting a war in the Pacific against the United States, where are your resources going to go? To the Navy, to your Air Force, Sorry, I got into history. Okay, I apologize. Next up, we have the BT7 Artillery. This is actually a light tank with an artillery piece on it. I just got this tank. It was a gift from Wargaming. I have yet to take it out and play with it. So I don't know what this thing can do. I have yet to play with this tank. Obviously, it is a light tank, 220 hit points, next to no armor. Pretty decent speed. The shells, 29 to 48, 123 to 205 damage. Not too bad, I guess. That's for high explosive. And, high explosive does better than armor piercing. Wow, okay. Next up is another gift tank, the SU-100Y. I haven't taken this one out to play either, but this is the box tank. Infamous box tank. 122 millimeter gun. And these things are beasts. Many of my tanks have been hit by one of these and just dead in one shot. So I really want to take this thing out and play with it. But yeah, this was another gift tank. And basically all I had to do was just log into World of Tanks for 60 days straight. That's all I had to do. Log in for 60 days straight. Didn't have to play a game. Didn't have to play a match. All I had to do was just, boom, log in. So as you can see from the little mark on my front armor here, I am part of a clan. And just to kind of keep up with them a little bit, I did buy this tank here, the Chinese 112. This, as with all premium tanks, this thing has its highs and lows. It's pros and cons. It's a fast, heavy tank. It is a heavy tank. It's fast. However, for that speed, you give up some of your armor. Now, it does have a pretty tough turret until you shoot these little boobs on top. But the front armor itself, nah, it can get penetrated pretty easily. But I think the first time I took this thing out, I actually got my ammo rack just blown to shreds by a German Maus, tier 10 heavy tank, and the dude just boom, my turret goes flying off, kills another tank on my team, and big plume of fire is shooting out the body of the tank, which really sucked. But it was a lesson learned, and hopefully I can actually start doing some good with this tank. But then we get the Japanese tanks. Now, go to the tech tree, and if you guys do play World of Tanks, you'll notice that there are a lot of tanks missing from my garage, and that is the French tech tree. I'm sorry, but I really didn't like the French tanks. I mean, the B1 was okay. The D2, the duck tank, that one's actually kind of fun. Really, it was kind of a troll tank. But other than that, no, I really didn't like, or the AMX-40, I'm sorry, that's a very troll tank. I mean, they got really good speed. French tanks have really good speed. However, They usually have really good guns, but a lot of them are auto loaders, which means they have like a magazine that they shoot, and then once that magazine is empty, you got to pull back and reload. Otherwise, you're dead really quick because French tanks just have next to no armor. I mean, once you get, I want to say, once you get past tier 4, your armor just is non-existent and it's all speed. Like the ELC, AMX ELC, I love this tank. This tank was a blast to play. Same with the AMX 12T, but then I got the 1375, and every battle, I was trying to do what I did with these two tanks, and ended up a smoldering pile of wreckage. Sucked, but it is what it is. Eventually, I may go back to French tanks. I don't know. But yeah, so I think tonight I'm going to highlight the United States tanks here, and this is just my U.S. tanks. So as you can see, tier 7 is my highest, and this tank here is my first actual heavy tank that I've worked for. I think with this one, I think all I have left is to upgrade the engines. Because right now this tank is slow. So a lot of times by the time you get to where a fight is going on, the fight's over. And you're either A, left by yourself against a group of enemies, or B, the rest of your team has already moved on to the next fight. And you're just sitting there going, guys, wait for me. So, yeah. That's pretty much how it works with that tank for right now. I am hoping to get the engines upgraded really soon, get this thing maxed out so I can start really putting some hurt on. Because this thing has a real, I mean, as long as I hide the body of this tank, I can bounce a lot of stuff off this turret, which is great. It's really troll turret. T14, I think I've taken this thing out once since I got it back again. And I had a fairly decent game in it. I mean, I put out a lot of damage. I didn't get many kills because I was a low tier heavy, but I did get out a decent amount of damage, which was great. Another tank I just rebought recently is the M5 Stuart. Now look at this thing. He's so cute. But the reason I bought this tank again is because I want to unlock the Chaffee. The Chaffee is a very fun tank. And with it, I can get the T37, which is what I really, really want. I really want the T37. And I really want the M41 Bulldog. The Bulldog itself, from what I've seen in other gameplays and just people who have them, they're a blast. I mean, they tear the battlefield apart in those things. I don't know how many times that this tank here, especially my T25, has been just ripped to shreds by a Walker Bulldog and an autoloader. Just, and next thing you know, I'm a smoldering wreck. However, the T25, it has a really decent gun. It is a tank destroyer, so it lacks the armor that, say, the T29 or the T14 has, as most tank destroyers do. But it is fun to play. I mean, I do have a lot of upgrades left to get on it, such as the next engine is the main thing, and then I just have to grind through and get the T28 prototype. So yeah, I mean, I still got a lot of work to do on it. A lot of grinding to do. Same with the T29. The Wolverine. This is basically, it's another version of the Hellcat, which was one of my favorite tank destroyers, the Hellcat. I love this tank. This one comes just before the T25. But I do want to go down the Jackson line and get the T25 AT, which is kind of the same as the other T25, but this one does not have a turret. Because eventually I do want to get to the T95. And then the T110 E3. I do want to get down there. I mean, this thing here is just a beast. The T95 is a monster. I have gone up against these things before and just No, no, it wasn't happening. I was actually in. What tank was I in? I platooned up with somebody, and I was actually in this tank right here. Actually, my Vespa, German artillery, and yeah, I think I emptied all 26 high explosive shells and all 6 armor piercing shells into this tank, and it just would not, just nothing. I mean, I knocked his tracks off a couple times, but that's it. That is all the damage I did to him, which sucked. This is another tank I just bought recently, the VK 30.01D. I just recently bought this tank again. I had it before when it was called something else. I can't remember what it was called. But I want to go down this line a little bit more. Get the Indian Panzer, the Leopard prototype, and then the Leopard 1. I do want the Leopard. Mainly because, hey, who doesn't want a famous ass tank? And then I've got my Panzer 4. Which I actually do like this one. If you guys want me to say the actual names of the tanks, forget it. That's not happening. But this one unlocks the VK3001P, which is P means prototype, and then it starts going into the heavy lines where I can unlock the Tiger, Tiger 2, E75, E100. And, that's kind of what I want to go for. But as you look at the German tech tree, I mean, they have every single tank the Germans had during World War II. During World War I and World War II, I should say. And I think some of these are still in service today. I'm not sure. But, yeah, I mean, I would love to get my hands on this tank. The good old Mouse. And, here's a little history for you. In all actuality, the Germans only made 2 of these. Only one still exists to this day. It's actually in, I think, it's actually in Russia. It's in a tank museum in Russia. The inside is completely and utterly burned out, which really sucks, but it is what it is. But I would love to unlock this tank. As you see, I think when you unlock this thing, all these guns, all this stuff is actually already unlocked. So I think that's the reason a lot of people actually go for that tank. Japan, I've only got 2 of their tanks. The Chinu, that's the last one I've gotten so far. But as you see, I still have a little ways to go on. I had a Chinu Kai, which was a Tier 5 premium tank. And that was actually another gift tank from Wargaming. And what it was is, hey, here's the Japanese line of tanks. Let us know what you think of this tank. So they gave everybody a Chinu Kai. I just used it to train the crew for the Chinu. That's all I did. That's all I used it for. So, if you go to the tech tree, as you see, the Japanese have no heavy tanks right now. So that's soon to change in the next patch. So, yeah, I mean, they got all kinds of things on here. It's like many different battles. They got team battles, tank company, strongholds, special battle. I'm not sure what the special battle. Oh, clan wars. Okay. Excuse me. Team training, battle training. So a lot of times you'll meet up with a couple guys in, during a match or something like that. They'll invite you to team training. They'll invite you to the training rooms, and they'll say, hey, you played a really good game, but this, and this you could have done better. And they will. A lot of these people are really cool. A lot of the community here is really cool. They'll help you out and say, hey, if you do this, you'll survive a lot longer. If you do this, you'll take a lot less damage. Your tank is made for this, not this. So it's really cool. I mean, a lot of these guys are really awesome, really nice guys. And then, I mean, as with any online multiplayer game, you've got guys that are complete and utter douchebags. So, you take the good with the bad. I mean, there's been nights where I'm on here and, next thing you know, it's like you're sitting there, like you're trying to zero. You're in a tank destroyer or something like that. You're trying to zero in on an enemy tank, and next thing you know, you look down and you see so and so has been destroyed, and then you look over at the chat box and it says, make my sacrifice count. That was one of them that I got one night, and I just happened to go out of telescopic view and I looked behind me and there was a little light tank on fire. Simply because he drove in front of somebody else's bullet to save my ass because I've got the better gun or I've got whatever. And I actually had that I think once with I had the Churchill 3, a British heavy tank, and I was on 5 kills for the match. And I don't know if he just wanted to see me get the Top Gun medal or what. I don't know, but the dude saved my butt. And still to this day, I don't know this dude's name, which really sucks. But now we got the British tanks, and the British pretty much all use the same design. I mean, actually, this tank is slow, but I love it. It is a very troll armored tank. The Comet. Not so much armor, but it does have good speed. It is a good wolf pack tank. We've already been over to TOG 2. I just unlocked this one as well. I have yet to take this one out to battle. But, yeah, this is actually one I don't think it was ever produced. I really don't think this tank was ever produced. And then the AT-8. Another very troll tank. As long as you hide this thing right there. That big old nipple sticking out the top. As long as you hide that, you're good to go. And then I got my artillery piece. I think the only thing I don't have artillery for is, Japan, because they don't have any. I don't think I have any artillery for China, because they don't have any. And the United States, because I really didn't like their artillery pieces. But anyway, this has been World of Tanks, and next week I may throw up some gameplay for you. I just have to go through some of my my old replays and try to pick out some decent ones for you. I know I had a really good game in the T29, the American heavy tank, and it was a really good game until the very end, when it ended in heartbreak for myself because I made one very small mistake and I paid for it big time, which really sucked. So anyway, if you guys like what you're seeing, hit that like, punch that subscribe button right square in the face, and if you see one of the tanks on here that you really want to see some gameplay for, let me know in the comments below, or just send me a message or something like that. Let me know what you guys want to see. So until the next video, bye bye.